two of the overview of the Academic Success Plan for Kids initiative presented by A Stronger Foundation. I'm Dr. Small, Executive Director of A Stronger Foundation. In this video, I will discuss the inspirations and fundamental elements that led to the development of my educational theory. Let's begin with a modified quote from Og Mandino. Most successful students in the world are not above the average in ability, but are ordinary students who refuse to fail. A few years ago, as a third grade teacher, I was inspired by an experience. The entire school was preparing for the annual state assessments. I was a top educator with strategies smoother than a horse's mane. But one day, after thoroughly preparing my students for what was then FCAT and teaching with all my heart, passion, and enthusiasm, I heard one of my students chanting, "I'm gonna fail, I'm gonna fail, FCAT." I had heard this negative chanting before during hallway transitions, but from other students in other classes. But when my students said it, my ego was crushed. But my pride was negligent because this certainly wasn't about me. After inquiring of the student the cause for this doubtful self prophecy, the child responded, "I know that I'm not smart enough to pass FCAT." I was confident this child was academically prepared to master FCAT because I knew what I taught. But once again, it wasn't about me or what I thought. For weeks, the same question troubled me. What could cause this intelligent child to have even an ounce of doubt about her performance ability? After soul searching, I received this revelation. Whatever your heart believes, your mouth speaks. Whatever your mouth speaks, your brain believes. Whatever your brain believes, your heart perceives. The revelation represented the cycle of subconscious programming. And for those needing a biblical reference, Luke 6:45 justifies this cycle. And therefore, as a person thinketh in their heart, so speaketh their mouth. The brain consolidates human thoughts and reaffirms the beliefs in their hearts, and the cycle generates a system. This revelation helped me understand why the student had such doubts. Basically, the student did not believe. She subconsciously programmed her system to fail, thereby operating obliviously on the systemic training of repeated failure. From experience, children who are victims of this negative cycle are those who have not been made aware of its existence. For years, I have wondered what would happen if our students were informed that they could program their systems to succeed. Rhetorically speaking, what if education advocates began teaching students about the power of self talk and how to use it as a booster rather than a sword? What if our students began to apply self talk to motivate and energize their academic endeavors? What if our students become enthusiastic about learning? What if our students learned to positively manipulate the cycle of their subconscious systemic programming? Would we begin to see a global increase in student assessment scores and overall achievement? A balance of education and mindset enrichment seems like the necessary, sensible recourse for enhancing student success, considering the alternatives. Consider a student who constantly tells themselves, "I'm stupid, I'm dumb, I'm gonna fail. I can't win. I'm a loser. And there's nothing special about me. How can this student possibly perform with confidence, academically or otherwise? From experience, a student who believes that they cannot beat another student in a race won't even attempt to win, and in fact, will refuse to even enter the race. And it's sad to say that the average student would prefer to fail by not trying than to have tried and failed. Herein lies a problem because the brain cannot challenge an individual. The individual has to challenge the brain. Considering the best solution for our failing education system, the issue isn't so much that we need another textbook or better schools and teachers as much as we need a group of motivated students with an I can attitude. A group of students who will join in this positive chant. I can, I will, I believe, I am. But how do we get to that place of academic restoration from where we are now? Allow me to officially introduce the Academic Success Plan for Kids. The Academic Success Plan for Kids, or ASP for Kids, is a plan to help every child succeed in school and in life. It was generated from the simple idea that every child can learn how to develop primary greatness in any area of personal interest. The idea blossomed into the belief that students genuinely desire to succeed and would do so if they knew how. Children are oblivious to the many hindering factors plaguing their most negligent willingness to try. The mission of ASP for Kids is to help children become empowered with the knowledge of how how to succeed through embracing self efficacy. The successful acquisition of the Academic Success Plan for Kids is accomplished through a three-phase process. In phase one, close existing gaps, education and mindset gaps. Phase two, prevent future learning gaps. In phase three, we develop practicing experts. Who is the Academic Success Plan for? It's for every child. Every child has untapped potential and benefits from an academic success plan that maps out their entire learning experience. It's for any student lacking an explicit education career plan during their earliest learning experiences. All students will inadvertently fall short of maximum academic success due to learning gaps. And therefore, all students require an academic success plan to achieve the most productive education that prepares them for postgraduate life success. Learning gaps develop naturally, and all learners are vulnerable to gaps. Many parents are oblivious to the extent of the learning gaps and their far reaching effects on the child's ability to excel. Many parents are oblivious to the consequence of neglecting learning gaps, which ultimately presents significant limitations to the child's life ambitions. I acknowledge the different types of parental responses to their children's education. Some parents blatantly ignore their children's education because figuring it out is too consuming. Indeed, it's becoming increasingly difficult to stay on top of children's education. Still, some parents are fighting to keep up. To the parents who refuse to lose hope and continue to seek out the best solutions, you are the ones that I want to talk to because it is you that this program has been developed. I categorize parents into three fundamental categories: the consciously neglecting, the subconsciously neglecting, and the consciously on it. The second type will be discussed last. The first type, consciously neglecting, is just as it sounds. You are entirely aware of your child's academic struggles and weaknesses, but for whatever reason, such a crucial problem embodying severe implications for the child's future is not prioritized. Maybe due to a lack of time or financial resources, the problem is swept beneath the rug and ignored indefinitely. The bottom line for the consciously neglecting parent who is fully aware that the child is steadily developing debilitating habits is that the child's failures are just not an issue they plan to deal with. This parenting type forms a mental detachment from any education related emotional ties, ultimately coming to terms with the idea that the child will have to figure it all out alone when they are older. I am not here to speak to this parent. The third parent type I call consciously on it has an established academic blueprint outlining strategic steps for their kids' education, possibly beyond grad school. As a teacher, I can quickly identify the children of these parents in my classroom because they are generally 2 to 3 years ahead of the curriculum. These children could practically function without a classroom teacher. The consciously on it parent, kudos to you. I salute you. I am also not here for this parent because they're the true masters of this plan. I am most compassionate toward the second type of parents because they are subconsciously oblivious. Why do I say they're subconsciously oblivious? Because in their minds, they believe they have the plan I just described for the third parent type. My subconsciously oblivious parents think that their child is on track academically, but could not be further from the reality of their child's actual academic standings. The nature of their oblivion is partially because, unlike the third parent type, which has an actual tangible layout of their child's academic journey from kindergarten to graduate school, the second type, the second parent type has only the intentions. And so, at most, with only implied efforts and wishful imaginations, they mean well. They mean well and have the best intentions for their child's academic and life success. Their motives are pure, but they've got no plan, no plans, no physical, tangible academic blueprint. And so my heart goes out to them because in many cases, these parents have taken the commendable action of securing a college fund like Life or Florida Prepaid. Unfortunately, in many cases, their children fall short academically and fail to access the benefits of that very ethical investment. So, in essence, the destination was beautifully carved out, but no one adequately fostered the steps leading to the alignment with that destination. This outcome can and should be avoided because it leads to mediocrity. Even living the best of a mediocre life is still mediocre. And I always say that the biggest disappointment in life has to be falling just short of greatness, knowing you have the potential. And so, even without a Life college saving plan, there are sensible alternatives for the subconsciously oblivious parent who is deeply passionate about their child's education. Because your heart is in the right place, you know the importance of developing a strong academic foundation and embracing the ideals of hard work pays off. But it just so happens you work a stringent 9 to 5 that keeps you too exhausted to even look at your child, much less pay attention to their learning. Many in the medical field fall within this category. They work overnight and sleep during the day, barely having the energy to supervise the child's learning. Does that make them a bad parent? Absolutely not. Parents in this category do their best for their children's education, but time restraints result in their inadvertent neglect. Within this diverse audience may be a parent in this subconsciously oblivious category, listening and connecting with me in one area, while on the other extreme, you're thinking that I couldn't possibly be referring to your child. That parent may think my child is brilliant and gets PR on every report card. That very thought has categorized you as a subconsciously oblivious parent, holding on to irrational ideals of your child's actual education standing. And I encourage you to spin yourself out of your trance and acquire an academic success plan for your child. The fact that you believe that PR, which means proficient, suggests that your child has an A or is even on solid ground academically speaking is your confirmation that this program will be most beneficial to your family. Another parent in this same category may be thinking, well, I have a tutor for my child. And whereas that is commendable, unless that tutoring consists of a tangible blueprint outlining the success plan for your child, including strategic accountability, then you've done nothing more than hired a second version of yourself, a clone of the subconsciously oblivious. In closing, if you find that these ideas connect with you and would like to learn more about the academic success plan for kids, please check out the next informational video in which we'll explain the consequences for children lacking an academic success plan. The next video will lead you to consider the extent of your child's learning gaps and extend a call to action with sensible options to activate your child's education restoration. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe to this YouTube channel and share with those you love. I'm Dr. Small, Executive Director of A Stronger Foundation. Until next time, keep striving to be your best, one moment at a time.